What we're going to do today is interpret linear, quadratic, or exponential. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to look at our linear. Either it's an increasing linear, and that's if the slope is positive, or it's a decreasing linear, that's if our slope is negative. Then we're going to look at quadratics. It's going to be a positive quadratic, that's if our x squared value is positive, or it's going to be a negative quadratic if our x squared value is negative. Then we're going to look at our exponential. Exponential growth is when our b value is over 1. And exponential decay is when our b value is in between 0 and 1. So with our first equation, what we see is an x squared. So we know it's a quadratic. Our a value is positive. So that tells us that it is a positive quadratic. Next, we're looking at our x value. We see that there's no exponents, so we know it's linear. We're going to look at our slope. That's the number in front of the x. This right here would be a negative 1. So since our slope is negative, that would be decreasing linear. When we're looking at our next equation, we see the x right there. So that tells us it's exponential. Our b value is in between 0 and 1. So that would be exponential decay. Then for letter b, once again, no exponent. Since there's no exponent, we know that it's linear. Our slope is positive, so that would be increasing linear. Take a moment, try those next 4 on your own, pause the video, and then come back and see how you did. So for letter E, no exponents, so we know it's linear. Our slope is negative, so that would be decreasing linear. For the next one, what we have is an x squared, so we know it's a quadratic. Our a value is negative, so that would be negative quadratic. We have no exponents, so we know it's linear. Our slope is positive, so that would be increasing linear. And then for letter H, we notice that our b value is greater than 1. We know that it's exponential because there is an x for the exponent, so that would be exponential growth. Now let's look at the graphs. So for the first graph, we see that it's exponential because of the curve. The curve is going down, so that would be exponential decay. We see a quadratic, it's going down, so that would be negative quadratic. We have a linear equation because it's a straight line. It's going up, so that would be increasing linear. And then we have a quadratic because it looks like a U. It's going up, so it'd be a positive quadratic. Once again, pause the video, try these next 4 on your own, see how you do, then hit play again. So with letter M, we see a straight line, so it's linear, so decreasing linear. We see another straight line, but it's going up, so that would be increasing linear. We see a curve, so that would be exponential. It's going up, so that would be exponential growth. And then this one we see a curve, and it's going down, so that would be exponential decay. Now we're going to do a little bit of a review from the summer packet. What we're going to be doing is filling in the tables. We have a -1, that's for our x value. So if we plug in a -1 in for the x, -1 plus 3 gives us a 2. Then we're going to plug in a 0. 0 plus 3 is 3. Then we're going to plug in a 4. 4 plus 3 gives us a 7. So for the next one, we're going to plug in a -2. If we plug in a -2, -2 is a positive, so that would be 3 plus 4, which is 7. If we plug in a 0, anything times 0 is 0, so that would be 3 minus 0, which is 3. And then if we plug in a 1, that would be 3 minus 2, because 1 times 2 is 2, and that would be 1. For letter C, we're doing the same thing. We're plugging in a -3. 3 times -3 is -9, minus 1 is -10. If we plug in a 0, this is my favorite. Anything times 0 is 0, so that would be 0 minus 1, which is -1. And then if we plug in a 2, 3 times 2 is 6. 6 minus 1 is 5. And our last 2 problems. This time we're evaluating. They tell us that x is 2, y is 7. So we substitute those in. Instead of an x, we put a 2. Instead of a y, we put a -7. Remember, if we subtract a negative, it becomes a positive. So that would be 9. For the next one, we plug in a -2 in for the, a -4 in for the x. And we plug in a 5 in for the y. Whenever we square something, that would be multiplying it by itself. So -4 times -4 is 16. 5 times 5 gives us 25. And that gives us 41.